I'm Jaculyn Hanrahan. I go by Jackie, and I'm working with the Appalachian Faith and Ecology Center in Virginia. The shorthand version of what I do is the new cosmology in the oldest mountains of the world, because it's in the Appalachian Mountains. It has the highest biodiversity of all of the places in the continental United States. So my work is to help make the connection between the faith world and the faith realities with the ecological awareness that comes from living in a place like Central Appalachia. There's a saying in our area that coal is king, and it came into the region around the 1920s, and they came into the region to get timber for the rail companies, and in the process discovered the coal in the region. The people were able to live on their land, but they did not own. They had to have rights. They gave away rights to the getting to the trees and putting down the railroad, and in many instances they lost what are called the subsurface rights. So as a result, they lived on the land and they farmed it, but there was not the opportunity to really develop or increase the value of the land for them. So they were very reliant on the coal companies, even to the point that the companies ran the stores and there was script and all those things that happened. Well, after 150 years, as coal begins to decrease and mechanism is greater for, you don't need as many miners for mining, the miners were beginning to lose their jobs. The salaries are good. They might get $80,000 a year, but there's no pension. There's nothing that happens once that mine closes or goes bankrupt, which they do. So anyway, the people are, even though they've suffered under that kind of economy, they also don't want to speak against it. If there's a common issue that everybody sees as something that is harming, or at least enough people see that they're willing to engage people who come from the outside, that's when you can really make a difference in terms of a justice issue, which is most of the work we do. Because even though I'm working with faith and ecology, I bring an education background, a theology background, and a legal background, the issues are all connected. So if it's an issue on water, if it's an issue on health care, if it's an issue on housing, somewhere in there it's going to connect to the economy that's been very dependent on coal. The telling takes us home, taking our place in the stories that shape us. And it's a people's pastoral from the Catholic Committee of Appalachia. It's the third of a series. The first two were signed on by the bishops of Appalachia. But this is a people's pastoral, and it's done by the stories and the voices of the marginated. It's the magisterium of the poor that is really carrying it. So it just came out in December of 2015. People living in mining areas in Appalachia and beyond, they often grieve at the loss of home, as they would at the loss of a dear friend. And that's called, a condition that's called solastalgia. And that's a term. There are higher rates of depression in the coal fields related to a loss of place. And for those of us who go to places like Appalachia, and I've been there half my life, this is an important thing. And it helps us understand why we're there and why we can stay. Whether deliberately choosing to stay put or to come home, taking a stand with the poor might involve taking one's place in the wounded communities and regions of our world, places like Appalachia, as an act of geographical discipleship. And I guess that's what we're about there, is geographical discipleship.